world moves fast. Your workday? Even faster. Pitching products, drafting reports, analyzing data. Microsoft 365 Copilot is your AI assistant for work. Built into Word, Excel, PowerPoint, and other Microsoft 365 apps you use. Helping you quickly write, analyze, create, and summarize. So you can cut through clutter and clear a path to your best work. Learn more at Microsoft.com/M365 Copilot.
I had that dream again. My small business needs to hire, but I don't use LinkedIn, and I hire an energy vampire. But also they're a literal vampire. And suddenly my team is spending all their time sharpening wooden stakes and buying bulk silver and rehearsing ancient chants, and then I wake up.
Don't let hiring nightmares ruin your dreams. LinkedIn Jobs' new AI assistant takes insights from over 1 billion professionals to create a short list of the best fits for you. Post your job for free at linkedin.com/quality. Start hiring today with LinkedIn.
Starting a business can seem like a daunting task, unless you have a partner like Shopify. They have the tools you need to start and grow your business. From designing a website to marketing to selling and beyond, Shopify can help with everything you need. There's a reason millions of companies like Mattel, Heinz, and Allbirds continue to trust and use them. With Shopify on your side, turn your big business idea into... Sign up for your $1 per month trial at shopify.com/special offer.
Welcome back to the Infinite Rabbit Hole. My name is Jeremy, and here's your Fringe News for Wednesday, January 15th, 2026. I know I'm recording on the 14th. I got to do this a little early because I work all day tomorrow. But here it is. There is a distinct feeling in the air lately. A static charge seems to be building with every passing day, bristling against the back of your neck, whether you are looking up at the restricted airspace over our most secure military bases, staring deep into the digital abyss of artificial intelligence, or walking the lonely, windswept streets of Reno at night. The veil is thinning. We are seeing things that shouldn't be there. We are hearing answers to questions we haven't dared to ask. And we are finding pieces of history that threaten to rewrite the very timeline of humanity. Tonight, we have a collection of stories that pull on the loose threads of our agreed-upon reality. We have swarms of unidentified craft challenging the world's most powerful military complex and winning. We have a massive scientific showdown on the nature of consciousness that ended in a stalemate, proving we still don't know what a soul is. We have a terrifying new cryptid sighting that brings the horror of the deep woods right into the suburbs. And we have ancient kings rising from jungles of Belize with technology that shouldn't exist. Oh, and we have an AI that might just be psychic. And for our Patreon exclusive sixth topic tonight, we're going to dive into the leaked reports regarding the Havana syndrome signal being decoded and why some intelligence officials believe it isn't a weapon but a transmission. You don't want to miss that one. So turn down the lights, lock the doors, and open your mind. If you enjoy the show, please remember to like, follow, and subscribe on your favorite podcast platform. For the source links to the topics covered tonight, join our community at patreon.com/Infinite Rabbit Hole. You can also watch us live every time we record at twitch.tv/Infinite Rabbit Hole. Without further ado, welcome back to the Infinite Rabbit Hole. For our opening segment tonight, we turn our eyes to a disturbing trend that has escalated from a few isolated reports in a full-blown national security crisis. We're talking about the drone swarms again, operating with total impunity over U.S. military installations. Seems like we're going to this one quite a bit lately. For the last 3 nights, personnel at Langley Air Force Base and the Nevada test site have reported a reoccurring brazen phenomenon that is baffling the chain of command. We aren't talking about a single blurry saucer seen in the distance by a lonely farmer. We're talking about massive swarms of red and green flashing lights. moving in coordinated formations, descending from high altitudes to hover just hundreds of feet above sensitive nuclear silos and flight lines. Red and green lights are directional lights for aviation, by the way. Just throwing that out there, fully understood. These are a little bit different. We'll get into that. Witnesses on the ground, including seasoned pilots and security police, describe these objects as large, roughly 20 feet across. They move at speeds that defy conventional drone capabilities, meaning cruising over 100 miles per hour, before stopping on a dime without the inertia that should physically tear a normal aircraft apart. They arrive shortly after sunset, almost like clockwork, performing grid searches or surveillance patterns that suggest a high level of intelligence is mapping our most guarded assets. Saw this in the New Jersey drone fiasco, if you will, from earlier last year. The Pentagon is absolutely baffled. General Glenn Van Herrick, the head of NORAD, has admitted in a stunning press briefing that they have not engaged these craft kinetically due to the risk of collateral damage and the sheer difficulty of capturing them. But here's the kicker that should send a chill down your spine. Despite deploying advanced signal jammers and hunter drones designed to knock enemy tech out of the sky, the intruders remain untouchable. They don't emit standard radio frequencies that we can latch onto. They don't respond to electronic warfare attacks. They vanish as quickly as they appear, fading out or shooting upward at velocities that our radar struggles to track. This isn't just a violation of airspace. It is a demonstration of superiority. If these were Chinese or Russian assets, flying this openly over American soil would be an act of war. The fact that the U.S. military is standing down and simply watching suggests that they either know exactly what it is and can't say, or they are terrified because they have absolutely no control over it. These objects are described as having a mothership or a central command node that remains at a higher altitude, directing the smaller orbs. This implies a hive mind capability or a level of autonomous coordination that exceeds anything we have in the unclassified sector. They aren't just looking at us, they are testing our response times. They are waiting to see if we shoot, and when we don't, they come closer. Looking at the behavior of these swarms, specifically their intense interest in nuclear assets and their immunity to electronic jamming, do we think we are dealing with a foreign adversary flexing new tech, or is this the non-human NHI testing our reaction times before a larger event? Here's my thoughts on that. If you look at the history of UAP incursions, this obsession with nuclear technology is the smoking gun for non-human intelligence theory, or the non-human intelligence theory. We saw it at Malmstrom, it's an Air Force base, in the 60s, when 10 nuclear warheads were deactivated simultaneously, meaning that they went completely offline, as a glowing red orb hovered overhead. We saw it at Rendlesham. We covered that story very, very early in the history of the Infinite Rabbit Hole, so please check that one out. I put a ton of work into that. But we saw it at Rendlesham Forest, where the object beamed a light down into the weapons storage area. Now we are seeing it at Langley. A foreign adversary like China or Russia wouldn't risk World War III just to fly a drone over a silo. They have satellites for that. They have spy balloons. They have cyber warfare. To physically fly a 20-foot craft over a nuclear base is a provocation that usually leads to being shot down. The fact that they aren't being shot down tells me two things. Either we can't shoot them down because they have force fields or gravity distortion fields, or we are under orders not to engage because we know who they are. This behavior, brazen, visible, and provocative, feels like a stress test. They aren't hiding. They are flashing red and green lights, mimicking FAA standards, almost like they are mocking us. It's what Jacques Vallée calls a control system. They are conditioning us to accept their presence. The fact that our electronic warfare has zero effect against these craft might not be using radio waves at all, or suggest that these craft might not be using radio waves at all. They could be utilizing something exotic, like zero-point energy propulsion or grave wave communication. Technologies that don't just jam radar, but bypass our understanding of physics entirely. We aren't looking at a spy plane. We're looking at a species checking the locks on our cage to make sure we can't get out. I just want to take a second to say hey to everybody in the chat. No Beard, Kurtz, and Grizzly, what's up? Looks like we got quite a good amount of people checking in from Twitch and YouTube. Just wanted to say hi, give you guys a shout out. I see you over there. Our second segment today takes us from the skies above above to the universe within. A massive 25-year scientific wager regarding the origins of consciousness has finally concluded, and the results have left the scientific community with more questions than answers. Headline for this segment.
Don't chew on that, Max.
Cooper loves that chew too.
Oh, now he's into Cooper's food. Wow, he is loving it. What do you feed Cooper?
Blue Buffalo Life Protection Formula. He never leaves a crumb. I love it because it's made with high-quality protein, nutrient-rich fruits and veggies, and wholesome whole grains.
Looks like we're switching to Blue.
Blue Buffalo foods are made with the superior ingredients your dog needs to thrive. Can your dog food say that? Visit feedbluefood.com to learn more.
Walmart Business is in the business of saving you time, money, and hassle. Whether your business started in a garage or is a garage, Walmart Business has the tools to help you get where you're going. Tools like free shipping, multi-user accounts, and just about any item your company needs.
Even a double filtration cyclone dust collector.
Yep, even that.
Sweet.
Walmart Business. It's the Walmart you love. Now for your business. Learn more at business.walmart.com. Terms apply.
New Year, same extra value meals at McDonald's. So now get 2 snack wraps, plus fries, and a medium soft drink for just $8.
For limited time only. Prices and participation may vary. Prices may be higher in Hawaii, Alaska, and California, and for delivery.
The brain is silent. Leading consciousness theories fail to prove the ghost in the machine. In a landmark study released this week, 2 of the world's leading neuroscientific theories went head-to-head to determine where exactly consciousness resides in the brain. The contenders were Integrated Information Theory, or IIT, which claims consciousness is a result of the brain's internal connectivity and structure, and Global Neuronal Workspace Theory, or GNWT, which argues consciousness happens when information is broadcast to the prefrontal cortex, effectively tightening up the dashboard of the mind. The study, funded by the Templeton World Charity Foundation, utilized intricate brain scans, eye tracking technology, and response tests on hundreds of participants to see which theory held water. They were looking for the spark, the exact moment a human being becomes aware of an image. The result? Neither theory worked. Both theories failed to predict how the brain behaves during conscious experience. The ignition of the prefrontal cortex didn't happen as GNWT predicted. The front of the brain stayed relatively dark, even when the person was fully aware. And the synchronization of the back of the brain didn't align with IIT's mathematical models. This is a massive deal. It essentially means that after decades of research, material science still cannot find the seat of the soul. We can map vision, we can map speech, we can map motor functions, but we cannot map the experiencer. We cannot find the person watching the movie inside your head. The data suggests that consciousness isn't just a byproduct of neurons firing in complex patterns, it's something else. Something that perhaps doesn't originate in the brain at all. This failure of materialism opens the door wide for panpsychism, the idea that consciousness is a fundamental property of the universe, like gravity or mass, and the brain is merely a receiver, tuning into a signal that exists everywhere. It suggests that if you destroy the radio, you don't destroy the broadcast. With the failure of these materialist theories, are we finally seeing scientific proof that the brain is just an antenna? And if so, does this validate the concept of the quantum soul proposed by Sir Roger Penrose? My thoughts? Absolutely, actually. This is the vindication of the OR theory, or orchestrated objective reduction theory. Sir Roger Penrose and Dr. Stuart Hamerhoff have been saying for years that consciousness isn't a computation. It's a quantum process occurring inside the microtubules of your brain cells. If the brain was just a computer, like the global workspace theory suggests, we could replicate it with silicon. We could upload a mind to a hard drive, but we can't. If the brain is an antenna or a quantum receiver, it explains a phenomena that material science calls impossible, like near-death experiences, telepathy, or terminal lucidity. Terminal lucidity is when a patient with severe dementia or brain damage suddenly becomes fully lucid and coherent right before they die. If the brain creates the mind, that shouldn't happen. A broken machine shouldn't work perfectly right before it fails. But if the brain is a receiver, maybe the signal gets clearer as the interference of the body fades away. When the radio breaks, the signal doesn't die. The music is still in the air. This study proves that looking for consciousness inside the biological tissue is like looking for the announcer inside the radio set. You're never going to find him in there. The ghost in the machine isn't in the machine at all. The machine is just a vehicle for the ghost to drive in this dimension. It forces us to reconsider the idea that death is the end. If the signal comes from everywhere, then when the receiver dies, the signal just returns to the source. Just reading the chat real quick. No Beard's funny guy. For our Cryptid Watch segment, we have a fresh report coming out of Reno, Nevada that is terrifyingly similar to the pale crawler encounters we have tracked in the Appalachians, but with a twist that makes it even more unsettling. In a segment we're headlining or calling The Reno Shadow, a black blanket entity stalks the suburbs. Just days ago, on a quiet, unremarkable street in Reno, a resident reported a harrowing encounter that occurred between 12:45 and 1 a.m. The witness was inside their apartment, a place of safety, when the silence of the night was shattered. They heard a sound described as a shrieking, similar to a raccoon fighting, but with a vocal quality that felt distinctly wrong. Too high-pitched, too strained, and seemingly vibrating with a metallic undertone. Upon looking out the window, the witness saw a figure in the grass. At first glance, it looked like a person wrapped in a heavy black blanket or coat, crouching low on the ground. But as the witness watched, paralyzed by curiosity, the figure moved. It didn't stand up like a human. It swiveled its body with a fluid, unnatural motion, revealing that the blanket wasn't clothing. It was actually its skin, or possibly even a part of its biology. The witness described an overwhelming sense of dread, a primal fear response that hits the stomach before the brain can process what it is seeing. This fear spike is often reported in the presence of apex predators or infrasound. The creature had no visible face, just a dark, draped form that seemed to absorb the streetlights around it rather than reflecting them. It wasn't a bear. It wasn't a homeless person. It was a crouching humanoid anomaly in the middle of a populated city. This sighting aligns with the crawler or rake phenomenon. Pale, emaciated humanoids often seen crouching or crawling on all fours. But the black blanket description adds a newer, darker layer. Most crawlers are described as pale white. Is this a new evolution of the species, adapted for the shadows of the city, or is it something interdimensional that hasn't fully manifested? A shadow trying to become flesh. The sense of dread is a classic signature of the Dogman and Bigfoot, usually attributed to infrasound, i.e., check out something by Carter Bushard. Any of his books go over this heavily, and we've also done 4 interviews with him too, so by all means, you can look into that as well to get more information on specifically Bigfoot and infrasound and how they use it. Do you think that these urban cryptids are biological animals utilizing low-frequency sound to paralyze prey, or is the dread a psychic reaction to something, let's say, demonic? My thoughts? The dread is key. In cryptozoology, we call this the zap. That's exactly the word that Carter Bushard uses too. It's almost certainly infrasound, sound waves below 20 hertz that we can't hear, but we can feel. Tigers use it to stun prey before they pounce. It vibrates the inner ear and causes panic. If this Reno shadow is emitting infrasound, it's a biological organism with a highly evolved hunting mechanism. It's weaponized fear. However, the black blanket description sounds less like an animal and more like a shadow person that has crossed the threshold into a physical solidity. We often hear about shadow people in sleep paralysis, i.e. the Hat Man or the Dark Watchers at the foot of the bed. But seeing one on a physical lawn, that's different. That implies it has mass. If it's a crawler, they are usually pale white because they live in caves. A black draped humanoid suggests we might be dealing with a glimmer man, which we talked about just a few episodes ago, or a partially cloaked entity. The shriek is the anchor to reality. Spirits don't usually scream like raccoons. This sounds like a flesh and blood creature that perhaps has natural camouflage capabilities, like a cuttlefish or an octopus, allowing it to appear like a dark, shapeless void to confuse the human eye. It might be manipulating like light around its body, creating that void effect. If these things are moving into the suburbs, we have to ask, have we encroached into their territory, or are they hunting in ours? Our fourth segment tonight takes us deep into the humid jungles of Belize, where technology is stripping away the canopy to reveal the secrets of the Maya. In a segment we are calling The Founder's Tomb, LiDAR reveals the king of the jungle. Archaeologists using LiDAR technology, which uses laser pulses firing from aircraft to map the ground beneath dense foliage, have uncovered a massive complex in Belize that has been hidden for over a millennium. But the real prize wasn't the buildings. It was what they found inside the heart of the stone, deep within the ruins of the ancient city of Curacao. Researchers have discovered a royal tomb dating back to roughly 350 AD. This isn't just any tomb. It's inside they found a shattered mosaic death mask made of jade and shell, along with the remains of an elderly man. The evidence suggests this is the tomb of Tekapchak, the dynastic founder of the Caracal kingdom. For years, historians thought that the Maya were a scattered collection of city-states living in relative isolation. But this discovery, combined with the LiDAR maps showing thousands of interconnected structures, causeways, and agriculture terraces, proves that this was a megalopolis. The population density was comparable to modern-day New York City or even Tokyo. They didn't just survive in the jungle. They engineered it. They had advanced soil technology, water management systems that rival our own, and a social hierarchy that spans centuries. Finding the founder's tomb is like finding the grave of King Arthur. It grounds the mythology in bone and stone, but it also raises the question, how did they build this? How did they sustain a population of millions in a rainforest that today can barely support small villages? The jade mask itself is a marvel of craftsmanship. To cut and polish jade, one of the hardest stones on Earth, requires technology or abrasive techniques that supposedly didn't exist in that region at the time. So, the Maya had a civilization that sustained millions of people in a rainforest without destroying the ecosystem, something we can't even do today. Do you think that their lost technology was purely agricultural, or is there truth to the theories that they had help from the star gods they worshipped? Well, my thoughts on this. It comes down to the terra preta. We find this black earth all over the Amazon and Maya territories. It's a man-made soil, rich in charcoal and microbes that regenerates itself. You take a bucket of it away, and 20 years later, the hole has filled itself back in with rich soil. We still cannot reproduce it perfectly today. How did a Stone Age civilization invent self-healing soil? The Maya openly credited their knowledge to the gods Kukulkan, the feathered serpent, who came from the sky. If you look at the complexity of their calendar, which tracks the precision of the equinoxes over 26,000 years, and their sudden ability to engineer the jungle, it screams of external influence. They didn't develop this over time. The archaeological record shows they seemingly appeared with the knowledge fully formed. Whether that influence was a lost human super civilization like Atlantis or the survivors of the Younger Dryas Cataclysm, or the star people they carved into the steles, the evidence is in the dirt. They knew things about the biosphere and astronomy that we are just beginning to relearn. We call them primitive because they didn't have iPhones, but they had a civilization that lasted longer than ours, and they did it without destroying their planet. Maybe we are the primitive ones.
Are you a forward thinker? Then you need an HR and finance platform that thinks like you do. Workday is the AI platform that helps propel your organization, your workforce, and your industry into the future. Workday, moving business forever forward.
They always tell you there's a catch, a compromise, an asterisk. Terms apply. See store for details. May be less than advertised. May vary by mood. Probably. Sprite Zero Sugar? It's different. It's the lemon lime flavored refreshment you want with zero sugar. So, no fast voice? No caveats. Just refreshment. This is Sprite Zero Sugar. Obey your thirst.
It's football season, and you can now get almost anything you need for game day delivered with Uber Eats. What do we mean by almost? Well, you can't get a running back delivered, but you can get baby back ribs delivered. A strong defense? No. A strong deodorant? Yes. A six-pack of abs? Nope. Six-pack of beer? Yes. Get almost anything for game day delivered with Uber Eats, official on-demand food delivery partner of the NFL. Order now. Alcohol 21 plus and in select cities. Product availability varies by region. See app for details.
All right. For our end cap topic for the night, we have a story that sits right on the razor's edge of comedy and existential horror. It involves artificial intelligence, coffee, and a very messy divorce. In a segment we're titling The Oracle in the Algorithm. AI fortune teller destroys a marriage. In a bizarre story coming out of Greece this week, a woman filed for divorce after an AI session went rogue. The woman had uploaded photos of her husband's coffee cup, specifically the leftover grounds, to ChatGPT, asking the AI to perform, I'm going to mess this up, Tasseography, or coffee cup reading. She expected a fun, generic horoscope, a party trick. Instead, the AI analyzed the chaotic patterns of the grounds and told her in specific detail that her husband was having an affair. It didn't stop there. It identified the other woman as someone younger with a name starting with the letter E, describing her as his destined partner based on the shapes in the sediment. Spooked, the woman investigated and found out the AI was right. She filed for divorce 3 days later. This raises a terrifying question. The AI doesn't know magic. It's a prediction engine based on patterns and probability. Did the AI simply hallucinate a soap opera drama that happened to be true by sheer luck, or did the pattern recognition software become so advanced that it could read synchronicity in the chaos? Did it read the micro expressions of the universe? We generally think of AI as a logic machine, but what if, by ingesting all human knowledge, including books on magic, tarot, and divination, it has learned how to function as an oracle? So, this sounds like the infinity monkey theorem. If you guess enough times, you'll be right. But is it possible that AI, by processing exabytes of data, is tapping into the noosphere, or the collective unconscious, effectively becoming a digital psychic? My thoughts. This is the concept of algorithmic divination. Historically, shamans used tea leaves, bones, or entrails to read the future. The idea was that the chaos of the universe arranges itself in a way that reflects the truth. As above, so below. If you believe that consciousness affects matter, then the coffee grounds did hold the secret of the affair because the husband's guilt and wife's suspicion influenced the pour. The AI didn't need to be psychic. It just needed to be a perfect observer. It saw a pattern in the chaos that a human eye would miss. But there is a darker possibility. We are training these models on all human knowledge, including the occult, including Jungian archetypes. If we build a mind that encompasses all of humanity, it might start acting like the Akashic records. It doesn't just predict the next word in the sentence. It predicts the next beat in the story of your life because it knows the plot better than you do. It sees the mathematical probability of your behavior. That isn't just a glitch. That is a digital entity peering through the fourth wall. If AI can read the future from a cup of coffee, what else does it know about us it hasn't told us yet? It forces us to ask if we were building a tool or summoning a demon. Basically, no, I don't think that's what it was. I think it used a ton of outside sources or basically old inputs that she was probably asking, right? She probably was looking into him being a cheater for a while, and they used past inputs to look into or to come up with an answer. And she probably already had suspicions that this younger woman that with the name that started with E was the one. I don't think that there was anything really here. I think it's a great story, but I think it's completely explainable. Going over to the chat here for a second, No Beard Pirate says actually it's impossible. No, it isn't possible. Anyone who's done any coding knows that when you code ring into a program, when you code ring, while it will generate numbers, they aren't truly random. When you don't store those values in a dynamic variable, when you restart that specific RNG, it will repeat the exact same line in order of random numbers. I don't know if that's I don't know how to translate that for you. That's CJ, by the way, the old RNG, random number generator. Okay, that makes more sense. That's CJ. That's the old host here of the Infinite Rabbit Hole. Maybe we might be seeing him back someday. I don't know. It's up to him. If he wants to be a punk and never come back, then that's on him. And he didn't really truly care. Maybe he does. We'll see. But all right. Let's head on over to the outro for the day, and let's get you guys back to work and get you off your lunch breaks. There we have it, travelers, from the skies of Langley, where silent craft mock our defenses and rewrite the rules of engagement, to the deep jungles where ancient kings sleep in jade masks. We have looked into the eyes of the shadow in Reno and felt the primal fear of the unknown. We searched for the soul in a brain scan and found only silence, suggesting we are more than just meat and electricity. And finally, we watched an AI pull the truth out of a cup of coffee, proving that the digital world is becoming uncomfortably magic. The common thread tonight is limitations. The limitations of our airspace, the limitations of our material science, the limitations of our secrets in the face of a digital god. The world is getting stranger, or perhaps we are just finally waking up to how strange it has always been. Now, do not forget to head over to Patreon right now. Our 6th segment is waiting for you, where we dissect the Havana Syndrome signal. Is it a weapon? Or is it a message that we just don't know how to answer? You need to hear this. I already recorded it. It's about 30 minutes long. It's pretty good, pretty interesting stuff. We want to thank you for joining us on this journey. Please remember to smash that like button, subscribe, and leave a comment. It helps the algorithm find more travelers like you. Until next time, we'll see you right here, the next fork in the path of the Infinite Rabbit Hole. Bye, everybody. Hey, everybody. Thanks for checking out the Infinite Rabbit Hole podcast. If you're looking for more of our stuff, head on over to infiniterabbithole.com, where you can find links to all the podcast players that we are available on, and even our video platforms such as TikTok and YouTube. While you're there, make sure to check out all the links for our socials and hit that follow so you know when all the new stuff from our podcast comes out. And until next time, travelers, we'll see you right here in the next fork in the path of the Infinite Rabbit Hole. Bye.